So we'll begin in our constructive resting pose, lying back, shoulders back and down, feet a little wide, letting the knees lean in toward each other, and just taking a little bit of time here to get settled. As we make any adjustments, movements to our body, just to feel comfortable here on the floor. Maybe that means adding a little extra padding or support under the head or neck. Taking that time, and then as we settle in, beginning to shift our attention to our breath, noticing where our breath is today, breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Let's start to deepen the breath just a little bit, starting to breathe into the belly if we're not already. Feeling the belly rise and fall. Feeling the rhythm of our breath, the flow of our breath. Maybe starting to just imagine or visualize, or even just having a felt sense of the breath flowing through the body. So maybe disconnecting any thought of the breath being an inhale and an exhale. And instead shifting that this, then that way of thinking to more of a continuous movement, a flow, a rhythm. Breath flowing in, breath flowing out. Maybe we imagine that circle. We kind of imagine that breath moving through our own bodies out into the earth, into the sky above us. And as we do, just kind of noticing what that little change in our thought feels like in the body. Just noticing. Kind of a theme for our practice today: flow, movement, continuous. No right or wrong. And just noticing how that kind of practice, spending time with that thought of lots of options, lots of possibilities, lots of different ways to do this. Noticing how that feels in our bodies, how it feels in our minds. And so when we're ready, we can just gently start to sway the knees side to side. And knowing, especially in this practice, but in any practice, if you'd rather move your body, if your body feels like it wants to move in a different way, then I'm guiding you through, then just letting that happen. There's no right or wrong way to move our bodies joyfully, intentionally, gently. And so maybe as we start to sway the knees, that range of motion gets a little bit bigger as we ease in. Maybe it stays a little smaller today. Maybe it changes up every time. And again, as we think about swaying these knees, think if we can let go of any thought of them swaying to one side and then the other. Instead, imagine this movement as a circle or maybe a figure 8, maybe an oval, some sort of shape in our mind, path in our mind that has no beginning or end, no destination, just moving. You can sway the knees once or twice more here. And as we ease back into the center, just coming back to a neutral spine here, walking the feet in a little bit, and we can hug our knees into our chest here to start. And as we do, maybe rocking side to side. And as we're rocking side to side, again, thinking of flow, thinking of circular movement, maybe we're going to kind of change this side to side sensation into more of a figure 8. So maybe we just imagine from one hip to the other, we're making an infinity symbol and a crisscrossing at the center. And maybe our body's not moving any differently, but our mind is imagining that movement differently. We can ease ourselves back to a little bit of a stop in the center, and let's extend both legs long, fingertips overhead, stretching out the whole front of the body, lengthening here, a few deep breaths, and maybe imagining the breath again flowing from fingertips to toes, flowing through. Beginning to move with our breath. We'll inhale long. And as we exhale, bringing one knee in towards the chest as the arms flow down by our sides. Inhaling, straightening that leg out as the arms extend back overhead. Exhaling, opposite knee drawing in. And again, finding a rhythm here, a pace, and allowing our mind to imagine this flowing movement with no beginning and end. And we can allow a little bit of creativity maybe in how we're moving. Maybe we're softening the elbows and just letting the hands just sort of drift up and down. Maybe it's a little bit more kind of intentional, almost like we're painting the sky with the hands as we float up and down. Maybe we're adding a little bit of movement through the ankles and toes as we do. Maybe as we draw that knee in, the hip kind of opens up a little bit. If that feels good in our body. I'm just finding movement here without too much thinking. Just following our body's lead without any thought about where we're headed next. I'm just aware of this place we are now, the way our body's moving in this moment here, in each moment. And maybe it changes with every breath and every movement. And we'll flow a few more times on each side whenever you feel ready, just coming to a pause. We'll extend our knees here, feet on the floor. Just a little bit of movement through the pelvis, kind of tilting the pelvis forward and back again, almost just like we're rocking here. Pressing into the feet a little bit, and allowing some space between the floor and the spine, a little extension here, almost like we're doing cat and cow on our back here. So flowing, tucking the tailbone under as we tilt the pelvis forward and back. And finding flow and movement here. And aware of any sensation. Noticing how our bodies are feeling today. You can stay right here with this forward and back kind of rotation or flow with our pelvis, or we can kind of come to a pause in the center and then maybe a little side to side flow, almost like hula dancing. Lifting one hip a little bit higher towards the armpit and then the other, maybe the knees sway a little bit as we do. So again, back to maybe a figure eight kind of visualization from hip bone to hip bone. Finding just a small little movement here and noticing how it feels in our body to move this way. Feeling as if the body is almost just moving itself. We can ease to a stop in the center when we're ready. Just resting here for a moment. Noticing our breath. Noticing any warmth or sensation through the pelvic area, through that sacral chakra. That space associated with creativity and flow, emotions, willingness to feel all of our feelings and explore all of our emotions. Sometimes we can get really kind of stuck and rigid in that space. So just noticing how we feel. When you are ready, let's slowly roll onto our side, carefully coming up to seated. Coming to seated here, bringing maybe a blanket under the hips. Sitting comfortably, whatever that looks like for you today. We'll roll the shoulders up and down and back a few times. A few deep breaths. And maybe let the shoulders just kind of roll on their own a little bit, forward, back, one at a time, together, big or small. Kind of feeling the torso shifting, moving, swaying with their shoulder rolls. Always option to open or close the eyes, whichever they are, just letting the eyes rest. We don't have to be looking around. We don't have to be noticing what we see here. We come to a rest here in the center, just sitting tall. You can start to rotate through the torso again here, eyes open or closed, letting the body find its own rhythm and path. And maybe it's a circle today, and maybe it's a figure eight. Maybe it's just a little kind of forward or one direction and then the other. Allowing the body to move in a way that it chooses. Just be curious about where it's headed. Not so much where it's headed, how it's headed there. Maybe it settles into a familiar circle like we do often in our practice, or maybe it's something different today. Maybe it tends to want to move one direction more than the other. For today, let's do that. Whatever your body's guiding you, however your body's guiding you to move. Making a decision here not to override the sort of inherent knowledge that our bodies have of what they're looking for. We don't have a better idea today. And taking a few more breaths here, moving in any way your body wants to move. And just for today, if things don't feel even, that's okay too. If we feel like we spent more time on one side or one direction, that's just fine. Sometimes balance comes from imbalance. All right, as we ease to a stop, pause whenever you're ready. Let's just start gently circle sweeping the arms overhead. Just getting some movement through the shoulders. Inhaling up and exhaling down. Exploring options here. Maybe the palms are facing up, drawing the elbows down. Maybe it's more of a forward sweeping chest expansion as we exhale. Maybe those palms face forward. Rotating the shoulder. Maybe it's even one arm at a time. Just finding some movement with the breath. Allowing our breath to set the pace of our movement. Maybe even adding in a spinal rotation. Maybe it's a spinal rotation we've added in without even deciding to do it. Just acknowledging, knowing, feeling that there's no real plan. The plan is to not really have a plan. There's no right or wrong here. Maybe noticing how that feels. Maybe that feels a little uncomfortable or awkward. Or maybe at one time in our life it would have, and now it's welcome. Just noticing. And take a few more breaths here. Just sweeping the arms up, flowing them down. And then as we let the arms just release down, maybe opening and closing the hands or fists, maybe rotating the wrists, just a little bit of time here to move in the way that your body's asking for. And then when you're ready, let's find our way to our hands and knees. Maybe a blanket under the knees, just for some extra cushion if we'd like. As we stack our wrists under our shoulders and our knees under our hips, rooting down through the palms and the tops of the feet here as we lengthen the spine, tailbone to crown. Rolling shoulders back and down. So we want to stay steady and strong through the shoulders so we're not shrinking or shrugging into them and putting extra weight pressure on those shoulder joints. So still strong and active through the shoulder girdle, but then allowing lots of movement, lots of flow. So from that steady foundation, that safe base of support, we can allow movement and flow. And so we'll start with cat and cow and allowing ourselves to move in a cat and cow that feels really great. And maybe we add in a little child's pose after our cat, rounding up into cat, maybe sitting back into a child's pose or toward a child's pose, coming up onto the fingertips. As we come forward, maybe dropping the belly, swaying the back, coming back into cow, and maybe even rocking back a little bit as we sit back into that cow. So the body's maybe sort of flowing a little bit forward and back, even as we're moving. And again, imagining this movement not as forward and back, even though that's the direction my brain said to go. Seeing if that forward and back can feel like a figure eight instead, maybe. Or maybe an oval, kind of an ellipse. Taking our time as we move with our breath, and maybe even inviting in some side-to-side movement. And so allowing ourselves to kind of come back to a neutral spine before we shift from that cat and cow flexion and extension to our side flexion. But aside from that pause in neutral before we switch, just seeing if we can let the body move in any way that it would like to. Noticing how that feels. And also seeing if we can let go of designing an actual pattern. So maybe we don't always do the same thing on the same side, and we just let go of any requirement that things be the same. Instead, just let the body flow. And our brains like predictability. That feels safe for them. They think they know what's going on, even if they don't. And so the practice of allowing whatever happens to happen is not always something that feels super comfortable at first. In time, it can become more comfortable. And what we can teach our body, even in just a practice like this, is that it's okay for things not to always be even. It's okay for things not to follow a set plan. That we can be calm and relaxed. Our body can still enjoy it. Our mind can enjoy it even. And then that translates off of our mat into any number of ways that we can better respond to what life tosses at us. But when we're first learning this practice, it may feel a little awkward or uncomfortable. It may feel hard to settle into the rhythm of the flow. But what we also find is that just the continuous movement, regardless of where it's going or how even it is, that rocking, the gentle movement with the breath, all of those things are soothing to our nervous system. So at the same time that we're helping our brain to learn that it doesn't have to know where we're going, we're in a relaxed state. We're finding ourselves, we're helping ourselves be in a parasympathetic state with our breath and with our movement. And so from this calm and relaxed state, the mind is better able to learn to be open to those possibilities. So we'll flow a few more times here, however we're flowing. And we'll meet up in child's pose when we're finished. Just pausing here, resting the forehead, arms maybe wrapping around by your sides, sinking into those hips a little bit if that feels good, or maybe the hips stay a little higher today. And start to walk those fingertips forward again here. As we come up onto our hands and knees, finding blocks if we have them, bringing them to either side of that front foot. If we don't have blocks, we have some other options. We're going to come into a flowing lunge here. So we'll just step forward with one foot, keeping the other knee on the floor. If we don't have a block, or if we only have one could go to the inside of the big toe, the other hand could rest on the thigh. Without any blocks, we could use a wall or a couch, something for support here. But if we have two, bringing them to their highest height and letting the hands rest on them as we lean, kind of hinge forward at the hips, lengthening the spine here, coming into a little bit of a lunge forward. And then as we exhale, coming back, letting the toe come up towards the sky, lengthening through the back of the leg. And then just flowing with our breath here, we can move those blocks forward and back for best balance and support. But as we come forward and back here, not thinking about going into the deepest lunge ever or the biggest hamstring extension, but instead just thinking about flowing, just moving here gently forward and back. So again, maybe closing our eyes if that feels okay for balance, just allowing ourselves to move and thinking about a circular movement here, imagining an ellipse or a figure 8 or any kind of visual where that movement's continuous, no beginning or end to it. So letting go of those thoughts of forward and back and seeing what other image comes to mind here for how we're moving our body. And as we're moving our body, maybe inhaling forward and exhaling back, or maybe we want to slow that pace down a little bit, inhaling forward and then exhaling into that lunge forward, inhaling, I should say, as we're shifting back, and then exhaling as we sit back. So slowing our pace down just a little bit, moving one full cycle of breath forward, and then moving one full cycle of breath back. And maybe inhaling forward and exhaling back is a rhythm that feels good. And possibly even for today, we don't even really notice the breath. We keep it going. We make those breaths deep and full and even, but maybe our movement doesn't exactly have to match up with our breath today. As long as we're breathing. Let's flow once or twice more here. And when we're finished, we'll come to this neutral lunge here. And we'll keep our block to the inside of the big toe, or if that hand maybe comes onto the floor if we don't have a block. Finding something, either the block or the floor, to support it on. And then the opposite hand, we can move that block so it's the same side arm and leg. Lengthening the spine here, and as we inhale, just letting that arm float forward and float back, rooting down through the four corners in that front foot. So that's our solid base of support, and then we can flow through the shoulder. And maybe it's a big circle sweep all the way around. Maybe it's just a gentle flow forward and back. And noticing what we notice here, we want to keep that solid foundation, that solid base arm. The base arm is steady, strong, supporting us here. We're actively rooted down through that front foot, so the legs are strong and active here. But kind of from the navel up towards the crown on this side of the body, it's a little bit more fluid, a little bit more relaxed. Maybe our gaze follows the palm of our hand. And we let the eyes just relax as we follow. And if that doesn't feel great for our balance, then we can just kind of focus our gaze just off the edge of the front of our mat and just allow the arm to move here. And seeing if we can keep that hand and that arm really soft. once or twice more. And come back to the center here. Taking our time, we can walk our hands back. Maybe hands staying on the blocks. We can extend that back leg, maybe stretch it out a little bit, shake it out. Moving any way you'd like to here before switching sides. And then we'll bring the opposite foot forward, stepping through, maybe moving both hands over to one side as we bring that foot forward. And then beginning with our flowing lunge, our blocks to either side of the front foot, lengthening the spine here. Inhaling and exhaling, finding our own rhythm, our own pace. And noticing where our mind goes. And aware of our breath and how it corresponds to our movement, maybe without really changing it, just observing this time. Flow a few more times here. And we can come to a pause, taking our time. Finding that hand inside the big toe, planting it on a block or the floor. Another block can scoot aside, lengthening the spine here, rooting down into that front foot as we find a stable base for our lunge. And then just starting to flow this opposite hand, maybe up towards the sky. Maybe it just flows gently forward and back. Maybe that gaze follows the palm. Maybe it feels good to keep the hand low today. And so we can just sweep forward, back. Maybe kind of noticing that rotation of the shoulder. Maybe it rotates a little bit. Maybe the palm changes direction. Taking our time, moving nice and slow. Again, we can focus our gaze just off the front corner of our mat. That's a better balance. That's a better gaze. Seeing how soft we can keep this shoulder, this elbow, this wrist, these fingers. Well, a few more times. And easing back to the center when we're finished. Hands to either side, maybe on our blocks as we just step that front foot, sliding that front foot back, maybe stretching it out a little bit here. And then let's just take a moment to move our bodies. Just see what they're looking for. Maybe a little bit of a downward dog, maybe a child's pose, maybe some movement side to side. And just taking a few breaths here to do whatever your body's looking for. And then we'll meet back on the floor. When you're ready, we'll come around to seated. As we come to seated here, gently rolling back on our mat. As we're going there, if we want to put a little something behind the head, a little cushion, a little support behind the neck, we can do that. Before we settle in for our nidra practice, we'll just maybe windshield wiper the knees a little bit, moving the hips, shifting the pelvis, anything you'd like to do here. We'll come into a little bit of a spinal twist too before we settle in. So when you're ready, with the feet together, feet and knees close together, arms can be out by your side. We'll slowly lower both knees toward one side and just allow for this gentle spinal twist, holding here for a few breaths, just finding some stillness, adjusting, moving any way so that we're really relaxing, really checking in with any areas of tension through the hips, or the sides, or the back, or the shoulders, or anywhere. Letting it go. And then gently start to bring those knees back towards the center. Taking a moment here just to shift the hips to neutral, stacking the knees and the ankles, and when you're ready, gently floating both knees towards the other side. Again, adjusting here. Support between the knees or under the knees, relaxing both hips, both legs, through the back and torso. We'll slowly start to ease the knees back into the center, and then taking a moment here just to move your body in any way you would like to before settling in for nidra. In our yoga nidra practice, we can settle in for a final, like we would for final relaxation. And so maybe that's on our backs in constructive resting pose. It's a little bit longer practice, probably 15 minutes or so. And so really taking the time to get super comfortable. So maybe that means the bolster behind the knees. Maybe those things we don't take the time for in our normal final relaxation, we take the time for today. So a blanket over us is always nice. Something behind the head is always nice. I always start to notice the floor under my head about halfway through if I don't have a neck support. And then getting warm. We may as our bodies really start to relax, our body temperature may drop. And so even if you don't feel cold now, maybe having a blanket over, even just for that gentle grounding weight, can be really nice. If you have an eye pillow for over the eyes, that's great. Maybe turn the lights off, or just place a blanket or towel or something over the eyes so they're dark and can relax. And then just settling in to get really comfortable here. And the practice of yoga nidra is simply being still and listening, and so you can't do it wrong. We do want to try to stay awake and aware. In a shorter one, that's usually easier than in a longer one. But staying awake and aware and just allowing whatever comes up to come up. So we're not really trying to make anything happen or to consciously focus on anything. It's more a practice of unfocusing. So settling in, getting comfortable. Beginning to be aware of the position of your body. Arranging yourself so that you feel completely comfortable and supported. for going into a deep state of relaxation and self-inquiry. Making any adjustments that you need to find complete support and complete comfort. As you settle in, begin to notice if there's anything else that you need. Maybe a blanket or a pillow. And making any adjustments to allow yourself complete rest and relaxation with no distracting sensations. Taking in and releasing a few deep cleansing breaths. With each exhale, feel yourself letting go. Begin to allow yourself to be open to experiencing any sensations, any thoughts, any emotions, both at this time and throughout your practice. Observing all of these sensations, all of these experiences as messengers. These are messengers with your story to tell. And so noticing them with openness and curiosity. Observing these messengers without any judgment. Simply responding in a manner that feels appropriate and harmonious within you. Knowing that all thoughts are fine just as they are. Take a moment now to notice the sounds around you. Notice any smells. Even aware of the taste in your mouth. Notice the presence of light, color, and temperature in and around your body. Bringing all of these things into your field of awareness. And allow yourself to be keenly aware of the sense of touch. Where do you feel connected to the earth, to the surfaces that are supporting you? Releasing any excess tension throughout your body and feeling a sense of relaxation spreading throughout your entire body and mind, even as you settle in. Feel into your heart its deepest desire. Something that you want more than anything else for your life. Maybe it's a desire for health, or well-being, or awakening. Feel this desire with your entire body while imagining and experiencing it, and in this very moment as if it were already true. And using the present tense in a positive way, state your heartfelt desire silently as an expression of present reality. Perhaps beginning the statement with I am, I have, or I choose, followed by your heartfelt desire. Stating this in your mind several times with feeling and emphasis as if it were already true. And now set aside your heartfelt desire and see how it returns to you later in the practice. Bring attention now to your inner resource, this inner sanctuary, a safe haven within you where you feel completely comfortable, safe, secure, and at peace. Maybe this is a place in your imagination or a memory, a place, a person, or an experience that helps you feel secure and at ease. A place that helps you to feel within your body a deep sense of well-being. Maybe it's a place that you've been to before, or maybe one you've only experienced in your imagination. Either one is perfectly fine. Begin to envision this place where you feel completely at ease, entirely free to be yourself, accepted and loved. What does this place look like? What do you see there? What sounds are in this place? What are the smells? Who's there with you? What's the temperature of the air on your skin? Experience this place with all of your senses. Feel yourself there. This inner resource is with you all the time. And you can return to it any time during this practice. If any uncomfortable thoughts or sensations arise, you can return to this inner resource to self-soothe. And then return to the practice in my words whenever you're ready. Greeting any discomfort while still feeling your inner resource of well-being. Gradually beginning to move your awareness through your body, sensing your physical body, sensing your jaw, mouth, ears, nose, eyes. Becoming aware of the sensation of your forehead, the scalp, your neck, the inside of your throat. Become aware of your left shoulder, left arm, hand, and all 5 fingers. Now become aware of your right shoulder, right arm, hand, and all 5 fingers. Aware of sensation of the whole right arm and hand, the whole left arm and hand, and both arms together, both arms at the same time. Begin to sense your torso, pelvis, your sacrum, hips, belly, spine, chest, the back of the torso, the front of the torso. Experience sensation in your left hip, leg, foot, and all 5 toes. And now bring awareness into your right hip, right leg, right foot, and all 5 toes. Your right hip and leg, your left hip and leg. Both legs together, both legs at the same time. Feel the entire right side of your body as radiant sensation. Feel the entire left side of your body as radiant sensation. Feel the whole front of the body. Feel the whole back of the body. Feeling the whole body together. The entire body is a field of radiant sensation. And now become aware of your breath, the natural breath flowing into and leaving your body. Observe your body breathing itself, feeling the flow of air in the nostrils, in the throat, the rib cage, the rise and fall of the abdomen with each breath. Each breath as flowing energy moving throughout your entire body. Bring attention to the left nostril and feel the breath sensation through the left side of the body. Now bring attention to the right nostril and feel the breath sensation through the right side of the body. And now simply breathe. And now leaving the breath, and without judging or trying to change anything, begin to welcome the sensations in your body. Sensing where these occur in your body without thinking, just feeling. Notice the body as weight. Where does the body feel light? Where does the body feel heavy? Simply notice the body as sensation of lightness and heaviness. Notice the body as temperature. Where does the body feel cool? Where does the body feel warm? Simply notice the body as radiant sensation of coolness and warmth. And now begin to notice within the body if there's a sensation that's more profound than another. Maybe it's a sensation of comfort, maybe it's a sensation of discomfort. Simply notice. And then begin to notice, is there an emotion or a feeling associated with this sensation? Simply notice. And now slowly bring your awareness outward to the periphery of that sensation. And notice if the sensation dissipates or moves around. Welcoming in this sensation, whatever it is. Simply notice. And knowing that if there is an uncomfortable sensation, you can always return to your inner resource. Pause. Rest here. And return when you're ready. Or maybe just breathe through the sensation to remain calm and at ease. Notice what emotions might be surfacing within your mind. Welcoming any and all to float or land within your awareness. welcoming any and all sensations, emotions, feelings. Sense and feel and simply be present in conscious observation. Welcoming in sensations of joy, well-being, bliss emanating from your heart or belly and spreading throughout your entire body and into the space around you. How does joy feel within your body, within your breath, your emotions, your thoughts? With every inhalation, bringing in more joy. With every exhalation, experiencing sensations of warmth, joy, and well-being radiating throughout your body. Becoming aware of your sense of self, of you, simply being you today. Experiencing yourself as an observing witness, keenly aware of your thoughts and emotions, while also knowing that you are not your thoughts and emotions. Simply aware of who you are, regardless of the thoughts, emotions, and experiences you observe. Resting and simply being present in who you are. As you complete the practice, reflecting on the journey you've just taken, recalling your deepest heart's desire, allowing it to announce itself again, seeing if it's changed. Recalling your inner resource, knowing this place of calm is within you all the time, day or night, on or off the mat. And as you feel ready, slowly begin to transition back to an awake state within the space you're in, bringing gentle movement to your fingers and toes, allowing your breath to become more robust, stretching and moving your body any way you'd like. You can rest here a little longer or come to seated. I always encourage some journaling after you need your practice, just to write whatever comes up, stream of consciousness. I'm grateful that you joined me here today. The light in me sees and honors the light in you. Namaste.